You know, we're always told that wisdom is something you climb for, that it's a summit you have to conquer, always reaching for the light. But what if that's completely wrong? Today, we're going to dive into this really powerful fable about a totally different kind of journey. Not climbing up, but having the courage to go down, deep into the shadows to find what you might call absolute clarity. And that right there, that's the big question at the heart of our story. It just flips our whole metaphor for growth on its head, right? This idea that you have to ascend to find truth. But this story suggests that real clarity, actual wisdom, well, that's found by going deeper, by facing what's lurking right under the surface. So our journey starts here, in a world that, on the outside, looks absolutely perfect. This is the glistening city of stone. It's a place built on the idea of absolute certainty. Everything is ordered, it's graceful, it's rigid. It's a world basically engineered to have no shadows, and because of that, no real questions. But of course, this perfect exterior, all that structural grace and those comfortable, easy habits, it's just a performance. It's a facade. Because underneath all that polished stone, our traveler feels this internal decay. This city, it's not a home. It's just a hollow monument built on truths nobody ever talks about and this quiet, gnawing vanity. It's not a life, it's a show. And this is the moment everything changes. Instead of just staying in that comfortable but totally hollow world, the traveler makes a choice. A huge one. They literally turn their back on the easy answers, on that whole glistening facade, and they deliberately walk into the unknown to finally investigate the shadows they've always known were there. So as they descend, as they go deeper, the traveler doesn't find some gentle, wise old guide. Nope. Instead, they meet their first real teacher, and this teacher is anything but kind. This is where the real work, the really hard work, begins. The stripping away of all the old beliefs. And this spirit has a name, the negator. Now, don't think of it as an enemy. It's more like necessary friction. It's that voice of critical interrogation that just refuses to let you get away with easy answers. Its whole purpose is to act like a stinging grit, forcing the traveler, and honestly, forcing us, to shatter our own vanity and question literally everything we think we know. Yeah, the process is painful, but it is absolutely essential for what's coming next. And this is the gut punch lesson you learn at this stage of the descent. The negator teaches that if a belief or an identity or any structure in your life can't survive being relentlessly questioned, well, then it was never real to begin with. Because truth isn't fragile, is it? Real conviction is what's left standing after the fire of doubt has burned everything else to ash. And now, the negator's interrogation turns directly to you. It's forcing you to look inward. I mean, think about your own deeply held beliefs. That feeling of certainty you have. Was it built on solid ground? Or was it just a comfortable habit? Kind of like the ones back in that shiny, empty city. Okay, so after making it through that fire of doubt, the traveler goes even deeper, into a whole other realm. And this isn't a place of fire and brimstone. It's something way more personal. It's a world built from the weight of every single truth that we as a society have just decided to ignore. The very first thing that happens when you enter this realm, your armor just dissolves. Poof, gone. All those external things you used to define yourself, your job, your status, your reputation, they all melt away. You're just stripped bare, left with nothing but your raw, unfiltered intentions. And once that armor is gone, you suddenly start to see the hidden fractures in everyone, including yourself. The perfect masks that people wear are just gone, and what's left behind are the cracks, the vulnerabilities, the real motivations that actually drive people. It is a chaotic and frankly terrifying sight. So where does all this chaos come from? Well, these 10,000 hells, they aren't some external punishment. They're just the collective weight of every single time we failed to be honest. Every truth we pushed down, every word we didn't say. It's the consequence of all our accumulated silence. So from this really harrowing experience, the traveler learns four huge lessons. First, status and identity are just fragile armor. It's not real. Second, that little nagging feeling of discomfort we try to ignore, that's actually a map, pointing you toward what you need to face. Third, these hells we find ourselves in, they're man-made, built brick by brick from our own dishonesty. And finally, true clarity, that only comes when you face all that silence head-on. So after surviving the depths, the traveler doesn't just, crawl back to the surface and pretend nothing happened. They become something entirely new, something that can hold both the darkness and the light at the exact same time. They become a bridge. Now, the traveler connects these two opposite poles. On one side, you've got the high star, that's pure awareness, total illumination, and on the other, you have the dark pit, that's the friction, the shadows, the stinging grit of the negator. The goal is no longer to pick one over the other. The goal is to stand right in the middle and integrate both. And this new role is called the witness. See, the purpose isn't to be the source of truth anymore, but to be a clear vessel for it, kind of like a prism. The witness takes in all of reality, the good, the bad, the beautiful, the horrific, and just observes it, reflects it, with complete and total honesty. And that brings us to the final stage of this whole upside-down journey. This is the furnace. This is where all the traveler's experiences, all the pressure, the heat, the friction, get forged into something incredibly precious. And here it is, the ultimate revelation. All of that painful stuff, the shattering of vanity, the dissolving armor, the cracking masks, that wasn't a tragedy. That was the whole point. That vulnerability was the only thing that could allow reality, in its raw, unfiltered truth, to finally get inside. And you know what? There's this deep, profound sense of relief in this state. After a lifetime of performing, of tiptoeing around unspoken truths, the traveler finds that embracing all of it, the beautiful, the grotesque, the uncanny, the uncomfortable, it finally feels like coming home. Absolute honesty becomes the new ground they stand on, and there's no more fear. And so the descent is over. The traveler is standing in a fully lit room, and they're not afraid of the dark anymore because they've been there. They've explored it. They have found absolute clarity. But the story leaves us with this one final provocative question. Once you see the world with this kind of honesty, once you've made this descent yourself, what do you do with it? How do you choose to live?